Okay, so I want to talk about something that I feel like nobody actually explains properly. And it's this idea that respect has to look like something. Like it has to be visible, it has to be this whole moment. The whole big speech, the dramatic exit, the post, the confrontation, the thing where people see you drawing a line and they know exactly what it means. And looking back, I genuinely used to think that. I thought if I really respected myself, it would be obvious to everyone. It would look bold, it would look impressive. But honestly, the older I get, the more I think that's just not real. Because some of the most self respecting things that I've ever done were completely invisible to everyone around me. They were just quiet decisions, private ones. Like deciding not to send that message, not to check the profile again, not to explain myself one more time to someone who had already misunderstood me 5 times and probably wasn't going to get it on the sixth. That's it. No audience, no validation, nobody clapping. Just me deciding deciding I was done. And I think the reason so many of us struggle with this is because we've genuinely confused self-respect with performance. We've been taught by social media, by movies, by the way we watch other people navigating things, that self-respect is really loud, that it announces itself, that it wins the argument. But some of the people I respect most in my life, you would never know. You can just feel it. You can feel it in what they don't chase, in what they don't beg for, in the way they don't sit at tables that make them feel small and then spend the whole time trying to justify being there. They've just they've just stopped quietly and moved on. And that's what I've been learning to do because here's the thing that actually hit me. Self-respect is being loyal to your own peace when watching when no one is watching. That's it. You know? When your heart wants to chase, but you choose dignity anyway. When your loneliness wants to settle and your soul says not this. When you miss someone, like genuinely miss someone, like you genuinely miss them. You miss the feeling, you miss the version of things you thought you were building, and you still decided that missing it is not enough reason to go back to what made you lose yourself. That's maturity, and it doesn't even feel glamorous in the moment. I want to be honest with that. Sometimes it feels like grief, like not being chosen, like silence, like walking away and the other person not even fully understanding what they had, and that hurts because part of you wants them to know, part of you wants to be vindicated, the ego wants the last word, you know. But I've started to realize that self-respect often means choosing peace over the last word, and that's a level of growth I don't think we talk about enough. because not every misunderstanding needs your defense. Not every wound needs to become a whole conversation. Not every person deserves the full weight of your emotional labor just because they're confused or inconsistent, even difficult. That's not coldness, that's discernment. And and discernment is one of the most underrated things, because discernment literally means I can feel deeply and still not hand my whole heart away. I can care, and still have a limit. I can be soft and have standards. I can forgive and still not give access again. I can love and still leave. That that used to feel like a contradiction to me. And now it feels like truth. Because I think so many of us, and I included myself in this. I've been here, I've been taught that good people keep trying, that loving people keep explaining, that kind people stay open no matter what. And I just don't think that's true anymore. I think a good heart without self-respect becomes very exhausted. Kindness without limits becomes self-neglect. Patience without discernment becomes self-abandonment. And love without standards, that just becomes pain with a nicer name. You know, you can see it in people when they're living that way. They're always tired, always waiting, always giving everyone the benefit of the doubt except themselves. And I've been that person. You know, I know what it's like to stay soft and patient and understanding way past the point where the truth was already obvious. You know, to make excuses because your heart is attached. But attachment doesn't cancel out truth. And truth matters. You know, truth really does matter. It matters when your body keeps going uneasy, when your peace keeps disappearing around a certain person, when something feels like intensity but not safety, when someone's presence can feel so beautiful in the good moments, but their inconsistency just keeps leaving you unsettled. You know, that's where self-respect has to come in. Not loudly, not angrily, just clearly, clear enough to say, this is costing me too much. I don't need more proof. I can honor what I felt without continuing to live inside what hurts me. And and I think that's what makes self-respect so sacred. Actually, it's not always this public act. It's often a private rescue, isn't it? A rescue of your peace, your energy, the parts of you that have been quietly shrinking just to stay connected to something that stopped nourishing you a long time ago. From the outside, it looks like nothing. It looks like not replying, not returning, not lowering your standards this time, not chasing closure from someone who only ever gave you confusion. But on the inside, everything everything is shifting. Because when you start responding to what's actually here instead of what you're hoping something could be, you stop starving while admiring the idea of what things could have been. You stop calling almost love a relationship. You stop calling confusion depth. You stop treating your own pain like the price of being a loving person. And slowly, life gets quieter, not emptier, quieter. And quiet is beautiful because it's clean. Your energy starts coming back, your creativity comes back, your mornings aren't hijacked by anxiety about someone else's inconsistency. Your spirit isn't being dragged into confusion that was never even yours to solve. And that's the reward of self-respect. Not applause, not revenge, not everyone finally understanding you. Just peace. And peace, this peace is worth more than being chosen by the wrong thing. So, if you're in a season right now where respecting yourself feels lonely, where it feels quiet or painful, like no one even sees what you're doing or how hard it actually is, that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It might actually mean you're doing the deepest kind of work, because some of the most life-changing decisions you'll ever make will look like almost nothing from the outside, but you'll feel them. Your body will feel them. Your future will feel them. And one day, and I really believe this, you'll look back and you'll realize that the quiet moments where you choose yourself were the moments that actually saved you. And that's it for me tonight. If something in this landed, you probably needed to hear it. Take care of yourself. Raiden.